Welcome to this explainer. Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You do absolutely everything right in a new relationship. You're considerate, you're logical, and then boom, you watch the spark just completely vanish. Today, we're decoding the attraction paradox. It's this wild, incredibly frustrating phenomenon where our most accommodating, well-intentioned behaviors, like the exact things we do to make someone like us more, actually end up completely destroying the romantic dynamic.
Let's ground this explainer with a quote from our source material that it hits incredibly hard. I watched attraction disappear in real time without understanding what I was doing wrong. Oof, that hurts, right? And the crazy part is, these attraction-killing mistakes, they feel entirely natural when you're making them. You just feel like you're being a good, considerate person. But beneath the surface, there's a totally different psychological mechanism playing out.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Mistake number one: availability and perceived value.
So this first major dynamic shift happens when you make yourself just way too available, way too fast. We're talking dropping absolutely everything to reply to a text in 3 seconds flat. And here's the thing, there is a massive disconnect between what we think we're projecting and what the other person's brain actually receives. You think to yourself, hey, I'm being thoughtful by clearing my schedule. That's your intended message. But the received message, I am completely effortless to have. Our human brains are literally wired to place a higher value on things that require at least a little bit of investment to access. If someone gets 100% of your time instantly with zero effort, well, their brain just kind of stops assigning value to it.
So how do we actually fix this? Well, true attractiveness requires an independent, full life. Now wait, the solution absolutely is not playing games. Playing hard to get, that's manipulative. And honestly, it's just exhausting. The real solution is to genuinely possess a life that doesn't just, screech to a halt the moment someone new enters it. Having that fullness, the reality that you exist completely and happily outside of this new person, is immensely attractive. When you've got your own passions, your own hobbies, and a schedule of your own, you naturally project high value.
Moving right along to mistake number two: validation and the mirror effect. This one is such an exhausting trap. And the tricky part is it often masquerades as self-awareness. We think we're being emotionally intelligent by checking in, but we're actually asking for something really heavy. It usually starts with a super small question. Was that okay? I mean, you've probably asked this, or at least thought it, right? It seems totally innocent. Just a little check-in after an interaction to make sure you didn't step on any toes. But then, it builds. Do you think that was weird? Notice how the energy starts to shift here? What started as a natural, flowing dynamic is suddenly turning into this clinical review of your performance. Basically, you're taking this rapid-fire internal monologue of insecurity and you're projecting it outward onto the other person, forcing them to analyze every micro-expression and word right along with you. And then, of course, comes the classic, did I say something wrong? When these questions start stacking up, a pretty harsh truth emerges. You're no longer just hanging out. You are actively forcing the other person to manage your emotional state. You're basically making them your emotional caretaker. And let's be real here, absolutely nobody is romantically attracted to someone they feel entirely responsible for. It kills the spark instantly. Why? Because it shifts the dynamic from equal partners to essentially patient and caregiver.
Which brings us right to mistake number three: the danger of agreement.
Look, agreeing with absolutely everything the other person says feels like the safest possible play, right? You avoid conflict, you keep the peace, they feel validated, win-win. But consider the massive disconnect here. Your intended message is, I'm keeping the peace, but the message they actually receive, I have no inner world, I am just a mirror. Our source uses this brilliant metaphor. When there is absolutely zero friction, no pushback, no differing opinions, you literally become invisible. You stop being a unique person and you just reflect whatever they say. And frankly, nobody is attracted to their own reflection for very long.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding this concept of texture. Texture means having a real perspective. It means having a little bit of friction and an inner world that makes you genuinely interesting. Learning to calmly say, actually I see that a bit differently, or even just playfully disagreeing about a movie you both just watched, that instantly changes how people experience you. You don't have to make it a huge fight. Just calmly standing behind a real perspective gives you texture. And texture makes you wildly attractive.
Let's transition over to mistake number four: pressuring the future.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why fast-forwarding things always backfires.
It happens when you feel a great connection, so you naturally get excited and start bringing up future plans. Big trips, future events, deep compatibility metrics, way too early. On day one, in the present, you're both just enjoying the moment naturally. But the second you start projecting months ahead with these grand plans, you create an immense amount of pressure. Instead of just experiencing the connection, you're suddenly forcing their brain to make a split-second decision about where this whole thing is going. It literally feels like a trap, and human beings will instinctively pull back from traps every single time.
Now we arrive at mistake number 5, the editing mistake.
Honestly, this might be the most tragic one of the bunch, because it usually happens on a slippery slope right when things are actually going incredibly well. Step 1, something clicks. You guys have a great connection. Step 2, because you like them, you start softening your edges. You know what I mean? You hide strong opinions, you dial back your quirks, you try to become this slightly more acceptable version of yourself, just to ensure you don't mess it up. And then step 3, the attraction slowly, quietly disappears. Why? Well, because you actively erased the unfiltered, unpredictable person they originally liked. By constantly managing yourself for their approval, the real you just vanishes, and it takes the attraction right along with it.
So let's just take a quick pause here. I really want you to think about this question. What do all 5 of these counterintuitive, seemingly logical mistakes actually have in common? Making yourself too available, seeking constant validation, agreeing with everything, rushing the future, and editing your personality. What is the hidden thread tying all of this together?
It's exactly this: fear. Every single one of these behaviors is rooted in fear. It's the fear of being too much, the fear of losing the connection, or maybe that deep-seated fear of simply not being enough exactly as you are. And the truly painful irony here is that by letting fear dictate your behavior, you actually create the exact outcome you were so terrified of in the first place. So, what does this all mean? What's the ultimate fix? Stop shrinking. Stop managing. Stop editing. The real key is to embrace this sense of quiet, internal security. Look, you don't need to be arrogant. You just need to stop fearful behavioral management. The absolute most attractive version of you is the one that has finally stopped being afraid to just be.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a final provocative question. Are you constantly managing your edges, or are you letting your true texture show? Take some time to deeply reflect on how you show up in your own interpersonal dynamics. Stop editing and start trusting your own texture. Thanks so much for exploring this fascinating paradox with me today.